Hello, this is Derek Smalls of Spinal Tap, and whenever I'm in your town, I spice up my day by listening to Icon Fetch with Tony Peters. Turn it up!
Welcome to Icon Fetch, the web's premier music interview show. Now, here's your host, Tony Peters.
Welcome to the show. Now, comedian Christopher Titus has done a lot of things. He had a hit TV show on Fox in the early 2000s called Titus. He's hosted a bunch of shows on Comedy Central. And in fact, he's working on his 8th comedy special called Amerigeddon. Now, his comedy has been described as part rant, part confession, and part therapy. And he's bringing it to Dayton's Funnybone for a pair of shows on Wednesday nights. And it's our pleasure to talk with Christopher Titus. How are you, man?
Thanks, man. That was a nice intro. I didn't realize I was so many different parts of things.
I didn't know you're parts. You're just parts, pieces and parts. It's fractured.
But at the end of the day, I elicit laughter from the audience.
That's right. That's what it is. Exactly. So I noticed, like, you know, I've been looking on your YouTube channel. You got like Armageddon update. Now you're titling this Amerigeddon. You like the word "geddon"? It's like end of.
I definitely. Well, it just seems like we're in such a weird place. I wrote this whole show. This new show is all about what's happened with our election, and I wrote the show to try to bring the country back together. So it's about politics, because I'm obviously an idiot. So yeah, because talking about politics right now is like going to an interracial hoedown in 1840.
Right. Yeah. Not good. Yeah.
So I wrote the show, and the interesting thing was it was because it's so easy to hammer this guy because of all the crazy stuff that's happening. The problem was when I wrote it, I had to go. I don't check where I go. I've been doing this too long now. I usually the Wednesday before I leave, I go, where am I going? They go, you're going to Alabama. And I had this whole new show, and I went, oh, no. and Kevlar is so expensive.
Yes, right.
I went to Alabama, and it was interesting because there were some people. Well, the first night was Birmingham. Birmingham was great, and it worked. And I was still reading it off the paper, which I think impressed them. They were like, well, he's looking at the paper, and then he says what it says. It's magic. So then so I got through there, I think, by some weird Jedi mind trick. Then I went to Huntsville. Huntsville's the weirdest town because it's rocket scientists and rednecks because all the space stuff. So you can meet people in Huntsville like, my daddy figured out the orbit of Alpha Centauri for the next 1,500 years, and my mama makes a damn good cornbread.
Yeah.
I'm on stage, and it's going okay, and there's this table of 8 people that are angry. And they look like they swamp boated in. That was the other thing, too. They looked like they had like at least 3 gator recipes on them. And one guy's just staring at me, and the other guy is wearing a Trump jersey. And I'm doing this show about the election and about what we're doing in this country. And I did get to this one joke. This one joke that I did was we didn't want we didn't want a vagina in the White House, so we voted for the other side of the taint. And this guy looks at him staring at me, goes, all right, damn it, that's funny. So comedy can bring anybody together.
Wow. Okay.
So
see,
I really wanted to do is I really wanted to write something that was going to bring the country together, and because I had to do it, the first 3 weeks of the tour were North Carolina, Alabama, and Texas. So I got to book better, man. And so it made me focus the show, so it's not partisan. It's about all of us trying to come together and get back to some. Because you do know that we elected the guy from The Apprentice, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I think Republicans would be freaking out if we elected the guy from the guy who hosts Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Right.
We've really screwed up here.
Well, and if you can't laugh about it, I mean, come on, you got to be even the supporters. You got to be able to laugh about it as well because it's absurd. I mean,
yeah, I said that. I said, listen, anybody in this room who laughed at an Obama joke, if you can't laugh at a Trump joke, you're un-American, and that keeps people back up.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and what's interesting is now you're very kind of analytical when you put these comedy shows together. I mean, I understand like every one of these 8 specials has a theme. I mean, who does that, right?
Yeah, I saw Lily Tomlin years ago do a show called Signs of Intelligent Life, and it was all. There's all these different characters, and there was a thread. And I remember walking out thinking how bad I sucked as a comedian. And so I always want to it's funny because you're the second person that's brought this up in 2 days. People just started to notice this, really. And I just thought it's such a better way to do it, to take the audience on a journey, although that really sounds very heady and but because at the end of the day, you just want them to laugh. But to take them through something and get to a point, I find it more fun for me anyway, if I'm on the way to something. So yeah, we're going to bring the country back together. That's my job on this special.
Right. Well, that's doesn't sound like too hard of a task, right? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Your sarcasm drips.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. So, I mean, what's interesting is what you do. I mean, a lot of the stuff you base it on real life, and I mean, to say you had a colorful childhood is, that's kind of the understatement of the year. But what's interesting is there's no June Cleaver in this country anymore. I mean, we've all got dysfunction in our lives, and that's, I think, where the connection is that, as we watch your show, everybody can relate to at least some of it,
Yeah, that was an interesting thing when I wrote that first. When I first wrote Norman Rockwell's Bleeding, everybody was like, oh, my God, you can't talk about it, because Seinfeld was popular at the time. So Seinfeld was the base. And I was talking about my mom's suicide and her shooting her husband, and my girlfriend used to punch me in the face. And I remember the first couple months of doing Norman Rockwell, there were some comedy clubs that were incredibly uncomfortable with it. Two of them actually didn't book me back until after my TV show, and then and one of the owners of the club apologized to me. But yeah, man, I think that was a day I wrote those shows and started writing about my screwed up family because my parents' divorce settlement involved a bar tab, so that's true. So I got to this place where it's just better to tell the truth, and the next show I'm writing is called Stories I Shouldn't Tell, and that one's going to be that one may get me kicked out of show business.
Nice. So this is maybe what you've seen rather than you're looking sort of outward and then sort of looking inward kind of thing, huh?
Yeah, this show had to be written with what's going on in the country right now. For some reason, I can't just manufacture something. It's got to come out of me. And this show's really it just started to get. It took me a little while to get this one going, or getting it together. And it started getting. I got like 2 standing ovations last week, which is great. That means it's starting to get funny. It's starting to get to where the points are being made, and it's saying. And we got a movie coming out in October, by the way. So I just want everyone to know there's a movie coming out called Special Unit. And we've got a trailer on the website now. But Special Unit, due to the Fairness and Disabilities Act, the LAPD has to hire 4 handicapped undercover detectives, and I play Nick Nolte's mugshot, and that'll be out in October.
Now, that's great. Now, let's talk about this for a minute, because I've seen the trailer, and it's hilarious. And, I mean, what's interesting is you think, okay, you've got handicapped people. It's like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with midgets and handicapped. It's like, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not bad. So you got that, but you would think, oh my God, you're getting into like serious, like uncomfortable territory, making fun of handicapped people. But in essence, what you're saying, I mean, I read a quote from you talking about this new movie, and it's like, we tend to just ignore handicapped people, and that's totally the wrong thing.
Well, the reason the movie got done is I have a lot of friends who are disabled, and although Hollywood talks a good game about the handicapped, and they're the biggest minority in the country, nobody does anything for them. And if they do something for them, they play some weird sage Yoda in a wheelchair, or they're the guy that's getting bullied, and the hero gets to step in and save the poor little handicapped guy. So I wrote a movie where they get to be that they've passed all the tests to cops. They won't the government won't. The government won't allow them to be cops. The ACLU sues, and they get given to me. I'm the worst, horriblest alcoholic cop on the force, and I'm a bad cop. And the mayor makes them sign them to me, and she's my ex-girlfriend. Cynthia Watros is in it, Billy Gardell. And I just wanted to do something where they got to be as crazy, as loud, as balls out as any Seth Rogen movie. I wanted them to be able to do that, because we think, able-bodied people think you have to protect them. And the weird thing is, I'll tell you a quick story about this. What happened? I was in a mall. I was walking to the mall, and there's people in front of me walking, and all of a sudden the crowd just kind of parts a little bit. And I'm like, what's going on? And this dude in this wheelchair rolls through, but nobody's looking at him. And I got something that I'd never gotten before. I don't think people are mean. I think they've been told their whole lives, don't look, don't stare, don't bother them, leave them alone, and so what ends up happening is people just kind of look away. Well, when you look away, so instead of saying, how you doing, dude, or whatever, people look away and they're invisible. And as the dude was rolling up to me, I said, how's it going, brother? And the guy, this is the weirdest thing. The guy looks at me, he looks around, and then he goes, hey, like he was confused that somebody was talking to him.
Wow.
And then there's the same thing happened. I was in San Diego a couple years ago before. This is the day I committed to do the movie no matter what. I was in San Diego. I'm crossing the street. Same thing. Lady sitting in a wheelchair. She's got one leg. She's got a sock over her leg. She's sitting there very depressed. She's got a handbag in her lap. And as I cross the street, she doesn't go in the light turn green. She just sat there. And I said to her, I said, good afternoon. What's up? And she looks at me and she goes, she didn't say hi. She said, thank you. And that freaked me out. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Like she was thanking me because somebody talked to her. That's creepy. So what I did was I was like, okay, so handicapped people turn to this invisible world, and I don't know what you'd rather be. Would you rather have someone go, dude, what's with the wheelchair, or just totally be ignored all the time? So I wrote this movie to be just laugh out loud funny, and to get people to go, oh right, they're just people like us, right? And my buddy Michael Aronin is ridiculously hilarious in it. Tobias Forrest and we use disabled actors. We use as many disabled actors as possible. I think we have like 12 disabled actors in it, and they're all hilarious, man. It's so good. It's coming out October 11th.
So nice. Coming out. When you say coming out, how can people watch it in October? Then
It's going to be on iTunes. It'll be on iTunes right now. We are working with a distributor right now, but it turns out when you give the movie to a distributor, the distributor wants a lot of money.
What's up with that, right?
I know, a lot of money. Like, whoa, you didn't make this movie. So my company made it on our own, and we had 2 investors and myself. And the cool thing is that I started my company, Production Combustion Films, and we basically have done the last 3 comedy specials. And so when you go get something from Titus, you're actually getting it from Titus.
Titus. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. All right, I got one more question. So, I don't imagine when you're going around in kindergarten and the teacher goes around and asks you what you want to be when you grow up that you would say comedian. Is that true? I mean...
I did.
Really?
I actually did. When I was 5 years old, I decided I used to listen to Cosby before he started. Allegedly messing with women.
Yeah.
And so when I was a little kid in kindergarten, I did say I wanted to be a comedian. And no one believes you when you're a kid. Astronaut, comedian, fireman.
Right.
I actually became it. But also because I also went to a California public school, so I'm the most uneducated human you could ever. The only job I'm qualified for actually is comedian.
Is comedian, right.
Yeah, I didn't graduate. I was let go.
Nice. All right, well, Christopher, it's great talking to you. Christopher Titus playing the Funnybone in Dayton for a pair of shows. Now, you said you played Alabama, you played North Carolina. Looking forward to playing Ohio and seeing, do we get uncomfortable laughs or not, right?
No, I love Ohio. Not only that, but it's the highest state with opioid addiction.
Yes.
So let's go.
Right, let's go. Right.
People are at least really happy.
Right. That is Christopher Titus, and he is playing Dayton's Funnybone for 2 shows on Wednesday, June 28th. For more information, you can go to Christopher's website. It's ChristopherTitus.com.
You've been listening to Icon Fetch with Tony Peters. Want more great interviews? Head over to iconfetch.com. There, you'll find every interview we've ever done, plus CD reviews, This Day in Music, and a random album of the day. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Who is Tony going to interview next? It could be you. Send what you've got to Tony Peters. Icon Fetch, P.O. Box 292134, Dayton, Ohio 45429. Or email Tony at host@iconfetch.com. Until next time, this is Joe Kelly. Have a great day.